like 20 minutes in. We should probably start talking about some sports.
I was actually about to do that. I had a note to talk about my anniversary weekend. I don't care. We'll talk about that another time.
Oh, we can circle back around the non-sports stuff.
That's
we
fine.
can sports sandwich here.
I love a good sports sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love a good sports sandwich.
Because I have a sports topic for you later. So
I got one right now. We could just jump in. I got all caps right here. It says Michael Thomas is back.
It's not all caps. He's a liar.
Shut the fuck up. Don't call me out. It's got exclamations though.
It does have exclamations. I can vouch for that.
Could have been all caps.
Yes, he is.
He's back.
He's back.
He's fucking back. And listen, I want to jump in on this because I do want your thoughts, but I do want to jump in on this. Got a lot of friends. I love y'all. I got a lot of family. I love y'all. I got a lot of people on Twitter. I love y'all. All those people out there that want to talk shit about Michael Thomas, I'm screenshotting your shit. I'm just letting you know. And the second he has a good season, I'm coming at you.
So I posted on Facebook. I shared our post on Facebook, and all the comments were, or not all, but most of them were like, for the 7 games he plays, or this Olave is better because he can actually be there. Didn't even comment. Normally I go back and forth with people. We're just going to let it play out.
I saw one, Michael Thomas out for the year, hurt his hand signing his contract, and it took everything in me not to respond because I love this guy. He's hilarious. He's a good dude. And I don't know if he watches. If he does, dude, I love you, but like, come on, stop.
I was thinking about this when he signed. I think he might be my favorite Saint of all time.
I do like him. He's not my favorite of all time.
Just that. So my favorite players, for the most part, are all receivers because that's what I grew up playing. Like, Andre Johnson. Sean Taylor is my all-time favorite. That's just a Miami thing. Andre Johnson is the receiver and the Miami thing. But, like, Colson was my favorite Saint.
Right.
And then, I don't know, just the way when it was the trio of him, Ingram, and Kamara, that was the best of times, and I think I just grown. The second he did the cell phone thing, I was like, this is my guy. Yeah, I love him. And I think he became my favorite player.
People, it's funny because like you love him for that. I love him in general. People hate him for some of that stuff too. Like people hate polarizing figures like that. Maybe it's deeper rooted. We don't have to go down that rabbit hole because I don't want to do that. I'm not the right person to do that.
Yeah.
But people hate him for that. Some of that stuff, and it's like I don't know. Like I love a good wide receivers are supposed to be flashy. Like if you're good and you're good,
right? Colston was the outlier there.
I know that's the crazy part, right? Because he was really good.
Yeah,
Quiet Storm. The Quiet Storm. Like I don't know, but yeah, Michael Thomas is back.
I'm excited, man.
We could like we could dissect it from a. That was the excitement. We both went into emotion. We didn't talk about any like actual.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, there's nothing to really talk about. Like,
oh, there is.
Is it with him? It's because we know what it is. Either, like, obviously, either he's gonna play the whole season and be great, because we already saw it. He was on the path to being Michael Thomas again. Like,
yes.
So it's either he's gonna play and be great, or he won't be healthy. Like that's the two options here. Yeah. I don't think there's an in between. He's still in his prime.
Yeah.
What injury is he dealing with now? Is it the?
Dude, I don't.
It's not the same one, right?
I don't even know. I really don't even know. And
I forget what it is.
Listen, we're not talking about that.
No,
we're not talking about what injury he has or had or any of that. He's back.
Well, the only reason
he's gonna be healthy.
Yeah, the only reason I ask is because it's like. I don't know. It's not like a lingering thing that we got to worry about. I feel like he's been off for long enough. Like, we're good. The dude's coming back. He played, what, 1 game? 2 games?
2 games
last year.
Dominated both of them.
So he's realistically had 2-3 years to get healthy.
Yeah.
So I'm ready. Like, the dude's coming back. I said it on Twitter. I will never count out anybody with that kind of work ethic.
Dude.
No,
I'm
never.
telling you.
I won't do it.
So if you... I feel the same way, right? And, like, if you go – I'm glad that you brought up his time last year because a lot of people are just like, oh, yeah, he's been hurt forever. Like, do we even know if he's good anymore? And I'm like, first of all, if you look at his 2 games last year, he wasn't only good. He was dominant. Like, he was phenomenal. You could not guard that guy. Now, granted, he was injured. You have camp. We'll see. I have no doubt that when he comes back, it's going to be like,
he's the sole reason Jameis fans had hope.
He is. Yeah, he made Jameis
not even a joke.
look good. No, I mean, Jameis had his moments, but no, like, listen, him, Olave, Shaheed, whoever else we end up with, they made. I am more comfortable. I've always been very uncomfortable with the running back position ever since the beginning of last year. I'm more comfortable now with Jamal Williams.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, say what you want about him. The dude had fucking 17 touchdowns. Oh, they're 1 yard out. Okay, cool. Like, we were on the 1 yard line a lot of times, didn't get in. Like, give me him. I want 17 of them things.
See that Wildcat? I call it Wildcat. That Taysom and him package is gonna be so good.
Call it the BYU.
Yeah, so
because they played together at BYU. I don't know if
somebody called it the Storm and Mormon package.
There you go.
I love it.
I don't think Jamal Williams is a.
I don't know.
Mormon.
I don't know, man. Listen,
he got kicked. Fun fact: this is something I actually know. I read it last year or 2 years ago. He got kicked out of BYU. I can't remember the story now, but he got kicked out of BYU because he wasn't following some random rule, like something stupid.
Yeah. I didn't know that.
We're not going to talk shit about Mormons.
He's a goofy dude, bro. But he's just from I didn't know anything about him until Hard Knocks last year. Like, all those Hard Knocks clips went viral. Like, give me that guy in my locker room. As goofy as he is, like, he could tell he's a locker room guy. He's a leader.
For sure.
Like, give me that 10 out of 10. I love it. Like, I don't know. I feel like you can get we're just missing the juice, man, on offense, and I feel like he can bring it, and I'm excited about that, both in the locker room and because, like I just said, the fun times were Ingram and Kamara being like that duo off the field, not even so much on the field.
Right.
Like all the videos on the sideline of them cutting up.
Having fun.
Yeah, I want to see that again. Give me somebody that's going to bring that to the locker room.
We still have that, to be fair. When you're losing games, it's not fun.
It's true.
It's not fun. That's the problem. You're not going to sit on the sideline and dance and party when you're losing games, right?
That's true.
Like, if you're an athlete, if you're competitive at the level that I know a lot of these guys are from what we've seen, like, they're not going to be okay with.
Yeah. Well, and also, I mean, with last year, it is different having DA to Sean, because Sean would do all of that. Sean was a petty guy. He would participate in all the nonsense on the side. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We've seen pictures of DA doing that kind of stuff in the locker room.
I love it.
But we don't really.
It's my go-to picture when people talk shit about him. Like, that's our coach. Look at this.
Yeah. There's only a couple times where you see him, like, get that excited on the sideline.
Yeah.
He did, like, stare a killer down in his face that one time, though.
I love it.
So, like.
I love it. He's fucking wild. He's a wild boy.
Yeah.
Listen, say what you will about DA. I've said some things about DA. Oh, I stepped on my dog's tail. I feel like a terrible human. I've said some bad things about DA out of frustration last year. We had the same record we had the year before. We had the same amount of injuries. Basically the same result as Sean Payton-led Saints. The one silver lining, feather in my cap, whatever you want to call it, I'm going to give to DA is people want to play for him. Like, people are coming here, right? Like, Carr came here. I mean, say what you want about Carr. They're like, oh, is he this type of quarterback, that type of quarterback? He could have went wherever he wanted. He had suitors. Don't tell me he didn't. Jameis freaking Winston came back. Now, granted, there's probably some monetary reasons for that. But, like, people want to play for him, it seems like.
Yeah, that was something we said last year, too. Like, as bad as it got, it never felt like he lost the locker room at all.
Right.
You know, it seemed like it never felt like a team that gave up. You know, there was times where it felt like a poorly coached team or just an undisciplined team, but it never felt like a team that, like, gave up on each other or on the coaches or anything. You know? So, yeah, I'm with you. Like, we said it before. This is what we got. So what's the point of at this point is like,
oh, I'm riding with it.
Yeah, you have to. Like, you can say what you want. Like, I'm still not a fan of bringing all of them back, but it's what we got, and I'm gonna ride with it. If it doesn't work,
it's my family, bro.
I've said it. Look, I've said it already once before. Last week, I think is what I was when I said it. This is the make or break year. Like, this is a win-win for both sides. Either they're good and the team is good, or they're bad and we probably start fresh the next year. Everybody gets what they want at the end of the year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and if you're actively rooting against the team because you don't like the coaches, like,
go root for the Browns.
Right.
That's where you end up.
Like, not to say like I won't complain if
go
we
root
look
for the Broncos. Yeah. Fuck it.
Right.
They'll be good. No,
right.
Actually, I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see.
No, I'm all in, and not in the sense of like some people are like, oh, I see a lot of people getting really excited. Calm the fuck down. I don't know if we're like Super Bowl bound or anything, but like the team looks promising, right? Like
they do this every offseason, do they not? They find a way to get you to buy in.
They do.
Like
they do.
You know what it is? It's the fact that every offseason, like national media comes in, the Saints are blah 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 over the cap. They're not going to be able to do this. They're not going to be able to do that. And as bad as the Saints can be, the worst team in the NFL, Saints Twitter will unite over national media trying to come at us.
You guys can go somewhere.
So it brings us all together, and we're like, and then we make a few moves, and we're like, all right, I'm on board. Like,
I love that, dude. I love how petty New Orleans as a city is. Not just Saints fans. Pelicans fans are also petty. New Orleanians in general. I don't know if we're more like. I admittedly like didn't grow up in another city. I don't know, but like we feel like the pettiest bunch, and I'm all in on it. Like I'm here for it. We've tagged Nick Wright countless times. Every signing, every restructure, and we literally just quote what he said. Like we don't say anything else.
I said it. I didn't even tag him. I said it within like seconds of signing Jamal.
You could search that phrase, the exact wording, and you're gonna see 300 Twitter messages. Like it's hilarious.
It is funny. It's just it like I said. It's like that. It's the typical like. If somebody insults your friend, you're like, whoa, I can call him that.
Right,
you
exactly.
Yeah.
I feel the same way. That's okay. So 2 weeks ago, when Rel and I did the podcast, we were talking, and I said I wasn't going to talk Pels. I'll talk Pels for 1 second here. We were talking about Willie Green, and it was like the whole discussion, like, is it time? Blah blah blah. And I was like, absolutely fucking not. But if you think that I'm not going to sit here and question him or say things about him, you're out of your damn mind. But the thing with him or with other players on the Saints or really wherever, Tulane, whatever it is, if I'm criticizing someone, it's not because I want them gone or I hate them. If I want them gone, I'll say that. I'll never hate them. It is what it is. Sometimes you just suck. You can't control it. It's like criticizing a little brother. Or like I criticize my wife. Like she criticizes me. Like there's room for criticism, and I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And like, it doesn't mean I want to get rid of you. Like you're at the end of the day, I guess what I'm getting at is that at the end of the day, you're basically still like family, right? Like,
right.
It doesn't mean I hate you. It doesn't mean I don't want you here. It just means tighten the fuck up. Like,
right. But
do better.
They are not allowed to.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Right.
Exactly. Listen, I know what I just said. Now, if you say it, we're going to have a problem. Don't come over here with that nonsense.
Yeah, man. So, we talk about Mike. We talk about, you mentioned Derek Carr. Just, a macro look at where the Saints are right now. How are you feeling? You like all the moves? I'll be first to say I don't know much about the two tackles they signed. I know that the one from KC is pretty good, or at least a starter.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about the guy from the Jets. But they seem like good signings. It doesn't feel like it's gonna be a step back from what we had.
Yeah.
At least like we talked about individually, it doesn't feel like it. Replacing the group, we'll see.
That's the question, right? So when you replace the group, there's a learning curve. The guys we got rid of all knew how to play our style of defense. Are we revamping the defense? Are the guys coming in going to be able to understand our terminology? Like shit like that. It is what it is. If we're just talking about players, your boy from KC, I'm excited about. Kalen Saunders. What's his name?
Man, if you 320 and can do backflips, I'm riding.
Dude, I've seen so much fun stuff about that guy, and also good play on the field. I mean, he can move.
He showed up off the plane today in like a throwback Lil Wayne shirt and was calling Wayne the GOAT. So I'm like, all right.
I love it. He's definitely a fun guy, a culture guy. Yeah. He's going to be great in the locker room.
Some guys, when they sign him, you can tell right off the bat. Right. Like, this guy, we're going to like this guy.
Yeah. He's definitely one of those guys. And his play on the field, from what I've seen, it's promising. Kansas, this is what I do. I always go see what is his former team saying about him. Are they upset that he left? Like, what are they happy he left?
Like the fan base?
The fan base, yeah. KC fans seem a little bummed that he left. And I'm like, okay, maybe we got a good guy. Now, on the other hand, if we're talking about your boy from, I can't remember his name, Nathan
Shepard.
Yeah. They talk about him like he's ass. Like, it doesn't look very promising if you look at the other fan base and what they say about him. But what I will say is I have seen some scouts and some coaches talking about him and basically saying, listen, he is very talented. Mm-hmm. He got no playing time, and he can't learn if he doesn't get playing time.
Right.
So I think he's got a lot of upside. I don't know a lot about him.
Yeah. Well, and the thing with the Saints is, like, he's not, no matter who it is, even Saunders is not coming in expected to be the guy. You know what I mean?
No.
The Saints rotate. Well, if you can play on the D-line, you're going to get playing time with the Saints. Like, and you got to imagine they draft one or two.
Oh,
and they may not even be done signing.
They signed another defensive. Was it a linebacker? Who'd they sign today? I wasn't as up on it. I've been very up on it the last couple of days.
See.
I saw something come across. We can move the discussion along.
But
look into it.
No, overall, I've talked about it a lot. Because I've been, it's mock draft season, so I've been doing that a lot lately. Yeah. The best thing about all of these signings is that now they can truly do whatever they want in the draft. You can go best player available no matter what. I think they need an edge rusher. Oops. I said, they need an edge rusher, but I don't know if it's a big enough need that you have to reach for somebody. And hopefully they learn from Turner and Davenport. Like, you're reaching for these guys, and it's just not. It doesn't work out. Take your best player available. And we joked about it a little bit on Twitter. If it's an offensive lineman,
it wasn't a joke.
No, they're gonna. I'm already expecting that's what they're gonna do. I'd just take best player available every pick. Like, you have the freedom to do that now, and that's what I think they should do. Like, if you're in round 2 and there's a good wide receiver there, like, you don't need another wide receiver, but if you could get somebody there, take them. Because
I agree.
You don't. They're really. I don't know if you agree or not. To me, it seems like edge rusher is the only position of need. Maybe another running back with Kamara, if Kamara is suspended or however long he's out. You need somebody else behind. I have faith Jamal Williams can carry the team now.
Carry the team. That's a very strong statement, but
be a serviceable running back with somebody else.
Yeah, he's a 1-2 punch. Yeah. You can throw somebody else with him.
I'm not giving 20 carries a game. That's not what I'm talking about. But to step in and you're not going to lose a whole lot from Kamara to him.
Right.
You know what I'm trying to say? Like, there's obviously a talent gap there. But
there's a major talent. Well,
they're different
players. They're different players altogether. So yeah, I get what you're saying.
I would still draft a running back, but now you don't have to go a running back in the first 2 rounds. If you can get a couple guys, I mean, Taji's going to be there in the 3rd, maybe the 4th.
There's plenty of the draft is deep at running back. There's a lot
of running backs.
Do I want Tajay? Of course, but that's because I'm a selfish Tulane fan, and I love what he did at Tulane. And the problem is, if he signs with the Saints, or if he gets drafted by the Saints and doesn't play well, I'm going to be heartbroken.
Yeah,
I would rather it happen somewhere else.
No, there's plenty of running backs that you can get. I mean, Gibbs, Tajay, Deuce Vaughn. There's a bunch. Like,
isn't Gibbs? He's like a first or second round pick, right?
He'll be in the 2nd round probably.
Okay.
I mean, I say that, you never know. Somebody could take him. Clyde Edwards-Helaire wasn't supposed to be a first round pick, and they did it anyway.
Yeah, that was stupid. Yeah, it was dumb. Storm Norton was the person I was thinking of, not a linebacker, not a defensive player, he's an attacker. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, doesn't matter. Draft wise, I agree. I totally agree. I'm all in on best player available. I do think that just in general, you said the need might be edge rusher. I agree. But I think just D-line in general. I think the whole even with the 2 signings, like, I think you still need D-line. It could be a tackle. I mean, yeah, it could be a nose guard, whatever we're talking here, right?
Yeah. Like, well, you say D-line, I'll even go as far as say front 7.
Yeah,
because you can use a linebacker
for sure.
DeMario took a little bit of it's weird because he took a little bit of a step back last year, but he made his first Pro Bowl.
Yeah, I felt myself in the same boat. Somebody was talking about DeMario as if he was phenomenal, and it's not that he's not. But like, my response was kind of like, hey, whoa, like, let's temper our expectations here. He is getting older, and last year he took a step back. It may not have been noticeable, but
it was his worst year as a Saint,
right?
But it was still a great.
It was
year.
A good year.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to hate on DeMario,
right?
But I wanted to be like, hey, like, it's coming.
It's coming. You plan for the future. You get ahead of it. which is why I've been upset with the Caden Ellis thing, is because it felt like you might have had your next guy there.
Yeah, that was really surprising.
But you don't know. Well, I mean, if you see what he got, money-wise.
No, yeah, I'm fine with him going somewhere else. But for me, I looked at Caden Ellis the way I looked at T.J. Hawkinson, which I was wrong. Not T.J. Hawkinson. Jesus Christ.
Henderson.
Yeah, Henderson. As if I'm a fucking Trey.
Jesus.
We'll just edit that out. It's fine. I'm a Saints fan, guy.
God.
No. That's what I meant though. Trey Hendrickson. Not a tight end. But no, that's how I looked at it. That's the comparison I made in my head, and it was like, is he that good? Is it a flash in the pan? Is he just performing because he's surrounded by these guys that whatever it is? And then he got paid, and it's like, well, we're not going to give him that contract. So I'm comparing the two,
right,
in that sense.
It's somebody you would love to keep, but if somebody offers him a huge bag, you're like, all right, you just can't do it. And that's where the salary cap situation comes in. Sometimes is like, if they'd have had a bunch of money to spend, they probably would have kept Trey Hendrickson.
Maybe.
You know what I mean?
Maybe. I disagree. I think that that's what media will say. But I think that Mickey just has a way of looking at it where he's like, hey, I'm not going above this number. This is the number.
Yeah.
This is what I want.
Well, the difference with Trey also was he was part of the class where you had somebody in that class was getting left out. You know, like you had Marcus Williams coming up the next year, which obviously they ended up not paying him.
Right.
But you had
same thing with him. It was like, hey, we have a number.
Yeah, you had Lattimore, Ramczyk, all those guys were all within that time frame, and it's like, all right, you can't. Like we knew, and then with the cap went down or stayed the same because of COVID, just bad timing with all of that. But I've said that to me for Ellis, I love Caden Ellis. I think he's a good player. I don't know that he'll have the career of Malcolm Jenkins, but it has that feeling where it was like, all right, this is a good player, and it just feels. Sean had said for years that was the one sign, and he felt, or there was two, Ninkovich and Jenkins were the two he was upset he let leave the building. And that's kind of how I feel about Caden Ellis. Maybe he doesn't end up being a Malcolm Jenkins level player, but he I don't think there's any way he's not a serviceable linebacker. Whether he's worth what Atlanta paid him, I don't know. But
there's just so many thoughts in my head right now. There was one thing I was going to say, and then you just reminded me that all of our players are all over the NFC South. So I was going to talk about that. And
it's weird.
It's so weird.
Like, just go somewhere else.
It's so weird. Like, it's fine. I mean, but what I was going to get at is when you have such deep draft classes, we've drafted really well, and I hope it continues.
Yeah.
It seems like it will because those guys haven't left, unless you attribute it all to Peyton, which you shouldn't. Granted, he has a big say in it, or he did. But like we've drafted really well. If you're drafting 5 good guys or 4 good guys every year, you're not going to keep them all.
No,
it's not happening. So like you're gonna see guys like that walk out the door, end up somewhere else, and play well. It's gonna happen. It happens to other teams all the time. It is what it is. But no, it is weird to that second point that, I mean, all of our players are all over the NFC South. I mean,
it's not as weird with Atlanta because of Terry Fontenot. But
well, and you got Nielsen who's there, and like there's a lot of defensive players that went over there, so it's fine.
Yeah,
like I get it.
Yeah,
it makes sense. They, you follow people you're comfortable with, and you sign people you're comfortable with that know your defense. I get it. But like Andy Dalton, something else. I was the one that commented from our pod, or not our pod account on Twitter, basically saying like, should we be worried about Carolina like a little? Is this a thing? Like,
listen,
it was like
people keep saying no. If they hit on this quarterback, they swept us last year.
They have a deep roster. I know they traded their top wide receiver.
Right.
I get it.
But you know what I look at it? They have draft, like even after that trade, they have draft picks.
Yeah.
And rookie receivers come in and make huge impacts immediately now.
Yeah.
If you hit on that quarterback,
that's the thing. Here's the thing, right? I'm one of those guys that'll tell you like running backs are a dime a dozen. You can always replace running backs. I firmly believe that. You do not pay running backs. You can churn them out. People kill them for getting rid of Christian McCaffrey. He's phenomenal.
Right.
He's great. It doesn't matter. You can get somebody else.
They didn't lose a step in the running game.
No, that's what I'm saying. And then outside of that, I think second to that wide receivers are the same way. You can find so many good wide receivers every year out of the draft. Like, you'll figure it out. I would rather gamble and go get a dominant quarterback. Now, who they draft is to be seen, right? Like,
it is weird how they're handling this.
Yeah, I don't get that. If they really draft Richardson first overall, I'm gonna die laughing and just be super comfortable.
Just to touch on it real quick, it's to me. All right, so first off, I would not have been happy had the Saints made that trade. I feel like you make that move, like you trade. Now, granted, they had a bunch of picks from trading McCaffrey and all of that, so maybe it's a little different. But like the Saints have made that move, you only do that for next year if you're getting Caleb Williams,
right?
Like somebody you feel is guaranteed. There isn't a single quarterback.
You could argue
maybe Stroud.
Yeah, you could argue Stroud or Young. That's it. But if you're whispering Richardson, I'm like, what are we doing here?
And the biggest thing to me is you don't trade up to one and not know who you're taking.
Yeah, that's crazy. They have to know. And that's got to be bullshit.
For there to be rumors of them saying, you know what, maybe we'll trade back. Like, why?
It's got to be bullshit.
It has to be. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, that's the weirdest thing to me is if the Saints made that move and they said we're gonna get Stroud, I'd be like, all right. I don't know if it was worth it, but if that's who you think your guy is, then let's go.
Do you think? So this brings up another question though. Do you think it's Stroud or Young that should be number 1 overall?
I like both of them. I think Bryce Young can be good, but I think I would go Stroud. Now, it's not fair of me to do this, but I don't trust Ohio State quarterbacks. Just the history of Ohio State quarterbacks. And if one Ohio State fan tells me that Joe Burrow was an Ohio State quarterback, I will be upset. No, it's not fair of me at all to like put past Ohio State quarterbacks on C.J. Stroud. You know what I mean? That's really my only hesitation with him. And then, I mean, I guess some people have the whole thing where he's playing with Smith and Jigba. If that's how you say that, it's got to be close.
Yeah, I don't know how to say his name, but I know
Marvin Harrison Jr. Like he's got this loaded team, like every top quarterback, Joe Burrow played with the greatest group of receivers that has ever been assembled in college football. You know what I mean? So I don't discount him for that. For me, it would be Stroud. My buddy actually asked me this question the other day, like, would you take the chance on Richardson? And not at 1.
No, in the 5th round.
Yeah.
Like, and that's insulting, I think, based on everything I'm hearing. But, like, I wouldn't even draft him in the top 3 rounds. He didn't win. He had terrible stats.
Yeah.
I don't care what his measurables are. You know who else had good measurables? Jamarcus Russell. He's terrible.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I wouldn't touch, like, I've said before, like, I don't know if he's going to be good. I'd love to see it play out for my team in case it is good, but at the right price. Like, right. if we hadn't gotten Derek Carr and we took him at 29, I'd be like, all right, what are we doing here? I don't know about that. Even at 29, I wouldn't feel good about Richardson.
I wouldn't either. I really wouldn't.
If you want the excitement, I'd take Malik Cunningham at the end of the draft and hope for the best.
Oh, I've done that in all of my mock drafts. Yeah, just because, like, right. that's. I think Malik Cunningham's got some tools. I mean, I don't know what he's going to bring to the NFL.
I've seen a lot of Malik Cunningham just because it's ACC football.
Yeah.
So,
but anyway, I do like him. No, I don't know. I think between the two of them, maybe it's the looming Ohio State quarterback thing. I don't know what it is. For whatever reason, I lean Bryce Young. I just feel like, in my history, the way I look at things is I look at, like, I want someone who's, and this is insulting because C.J. Stroud is definitely a proven winner, but I want someone who's a proven winner. I felt the same way about Deshaun Watson back in the day. I was like, how is he not the first guy?
Yeah. We've talked about that already.
It's stuff like that. It's like, okay, he doesn't have these tools or whatever. They're like, oh, Trubisky's arm, this, and that. And I'm like, okay, but this dude was a winner, and he's good as well. Like,
it just goes back to what we've said. Sometimes it doesn't. The measurables shouldn't matter as much as they do.
Right.
Sometimes it's just, can they win? Is the tape there? Now, sometimes there's the other side of that with, like, Tebow, where all he did was win.
Yeah. But he clearly wasn't a quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, but you know what I'm saying? There are two sides of it, but no, I'm with you 100%. But I guess, like you said, Stroud he's a winner, whether it's only a year or whatever it is. I wouldn't be. if you told me you wanted Bryce Young number 1, you wouldn't get any pushback from me at all. I don't know why I prefer C.J. Stroud. I just do.
Yeah.
But you could ask me this next week, I might tell you Bryce Young.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I've been Bryce Young from the beginning of time. It's definitely between those two. What kills me and really blows my mind is that you see my dog's going to get his shit kicked in. No, he's not. I would never do that to my puppy.
At PETA.
I would never do that. I would never do that. I love him. Anyways, I don't understand how you have people out there talking about even like Will Levis or like Anthony Richardson as a top pick above.
Listen,
there's people saying it, and I'm like, how? Does that make sense?
Will Levis puts mayo in his coffee. Keep him away from my team.
I want nothing to do with Will Levis.
Listen,
I want nothing, and it has nothing to do with the damn mayo in the coffee thing. I heard about that, but
no, I'm with you. Yeah, I'd prefer to take a chance on Will Levis than Richardson.
Well, because he's an actual quarterback,
right? But no, I'm with you. It's those two. Honestly, I'm blanking on the TCU quarterback's name. I'd almost prefer him. I'd almost prefer him to the other than Richardson and because
why not?
Yeah,
that's how I feel though. Like between the three of them, I'm like I don't know. Like Richardson's like uber talented. Okay, maybe
it's definitely one of those drafts where it's the top 2 and then who knows?
Right. I totally agree. It
was a good draft talk.
Yeah. We did that last week, too. We had some draft talk. Look at us.
A little bit. Yeah.
Look at us.
I'm doing a lot of mock drafts, and what I'm trying to do is when a player comes up, if I feel like it's a position the Saints need, I'll go watch some highlights. I'm trying to learn.
Yeah, I've been doing the same.
Because I watch college football, but I don't watch enough of it to know like these defensive linemen. I could tell you the skill players on offense, who's good and who's not. I don't know the defensive players.
I don't either, and the more I read about the guys in the Saints range, if we go back to that, I don't feel comfortable with any of them, to be completely honest. They all seem like they have a lot of like downside. It's like, they could be good, but like this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. And like I'm trying to think of like Will McDonald, right? Like is that the guy that's got like 2 years of actual
I don't know how many
experience.
He's definitely, I know he's one that at least in mock drafts is in that range.
Yeah.
That seems to be there.
He's got. I think he's the guy who's got like 2 years of actual experience, or maybe more than that, but it's not a lot. And like his measurables aren't like phenomenal. So like normally a guy like that, it's like, oh, he's just uber athletic and like he's got this huge upside. It's just like he's okay. He played really well.
Right. Maybe this is unfair of me to do. I hope they don't take, if they go edge rusher, I hope they don't take somebody from a smaller school. It hasn't worked.
Not in the first round.
Right, it hasn't worked. It didn't work with Marcus Davenport. Now, he was a freak athletically and build-wise. Peyton Turner went to what, Houston?
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to go get your edge rusher, go get me somebody that's played big-time football.
I think the problem with that is those guys aren't lasting until pick 30.
So he's not an edge rusher, but like Mozzie Smith from Michigan is one that is in okay.
He's
in that first or second. I've seen him in round 2 even at our pick.
Yeah, so but he's somebody that you're talking about an interior lineman. When you said edge rusher, I'm like, like those guys aren't there. Like,
there's a guy from like Kansas State that I thought was all right. Like I'm cool with Kansas State. It's just like UTSA. Like don't do that. Just don't do that again.
Yeah.
And especially don't trade up for him. I would prefer them trade up to go get one of these Georgia guys.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean?
If you're gonna go get a premier edge rusher, trade up to.
No pun intended. Go get you a dog. Like.
We got a dog. Okay. Jamal Williams. He's a fucking dog.
Some dogs in here.
These tears.
It's all dog in this mug.
All dog. I love it. Has Cam Jordan said anything about?
He did. He was like he tweets weird, like the way Cam Jordan talks.
But I love Cam Jordan. He's the type of dude that he will address it. So
he said something like, "Well, I said he balled out." It's basically
he's like, what y'all want from me?
Yeah.
Like,